Alabama football. You either hate them or you love them because all they do is win. The Crimson Tide have been ranked number 1 in national polls for at least part of every season since 2008. Nick Saban has led Alabama to 17 bowl game appearances in just 13 years as head coach. This is because of Alabama's 4 straight trips to the college football playoffs from 2014 to 2018, 2 of which resulted in national championships. The boys down in Alabama have been having crazy success for the last 12 years, and it's hard to imagine a time when the Crimson Tide was a laughingstock of SEC football. Yet not that long ago, in the early 2000s, Alabama was going through a series of coaching scandals and a 4-win season. Before we look into the success of the Nick Saban era, let's check out the history of Alabama football, one of college football's most storied programs. Alabama was having success long before the 1950s, but I'm going to start there with the career of the program's most influential coach, Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant was a tough guy, and he earned his nickname by agreeing to wrestle a circus bear at age 13. Before he was a coach, Bear Bryant played defensive end at Alabama and later served in the Navy during World War II. In 1958, he took over as head coach at Alabama and remained for 24 straight years. During his time from 1958 to 1982, he led the Crimson Tide to 6 national championships and recruited the school's first black players. Above all, he set a standard for excellence for the football program, which is being upheld by Coach Saban today. If it weren't for Coach Bear Bryant, the Alabama we know might have been much different. Fast forward 18 years after Coach Bryant's retirement, and Alabama football is a joke. 2 decades removed from the classiness and success of Coach Bryant, Alabama started the 21st century with a 3-8 record and series of coaching scandals. It started with Mike Dubose, who claimed to have had a head coach head rush, which wound up with Dubose having an affair with a university secretary. To his credit, Dubose bounced back and led the Tide to an SEC championship game, but the success was short-lived. The next year, Alabama went 3-8 under Dubose, who offered his resignation midway through the season. Next came Coach Dennis Franchione in 2001. Just months after Franchione landed in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the Tide were slapped with 5 years probation and scholarship reductions after an Alabama booster was caught giving $200,000 to help influence the recruitment of a top player. Following a successful 2002 campaign, which ended with a 10-3 record, Franchione was gone. 5 days after the end of the season, Franchione decided he was through with the program and left on a private jet for Texas A&M without saying any goodbyes. Somehow it got even worse for Alabama. Their next hire, Mike Price, was fired before coaching his first game when his strip club bender made national headlines. Now the next coach, Mike Shula, made the best out of his situation at Alabama given the NCAA probation the school was going through. However, he failed to get the job done, going 0-8 against LSU and Auburn during his time at Alabama, and this led to him being fired. Finally, Nick Saban was hired in 2007, and the Alabama we all know today began to lay its foundation. The next years under Saban were an incredible turnaround and proved that Saban deserves to be among the list of best college coaches of all time. 25 years after the retirement of Coach Bear Bryant, Alabama once again found their coach, and this time it was Nick Saban. Flying around the country in his private jet and beginning the recruiting process was one of the first things the new head coach did. Saban spent that first winter as head coach visiting top recruits and confidently delivering his message of commitment to his players and pride of Alabama football, leaving out all the false claims and assurances of other head coaches. Former Alabama lineman Bear Jones said, quote, "Every coach tells you they are going to win. They are going to do special things. But for whatever reason, when Coach Saban told you that, I believed him. It was just the way he talked, the way he carried himself. I could tell he was going to win a lot of football games." The 2008 recruiting class brought in 3 5-star and 19 4-star athletes, including Mark Ingram, Dante Hightower, and Julio Jones. Coach Saban then set to work at practice, where players ran 28 110s on opening day. For those who haven't played football, 110s are awful. You have to sprint from one goal line past the back of the opposite end zone, making 110 yards. I'm sure the grueling Alabama heat made it all that much worse. The hard practices paid off, and the Tide went 12-2 in the 2008 season, which included a win on the road against third-ranked Georgia and wins over LSU and Clemson. The following year, Alabama went 14-0, beating Texas to win a national title game. The rest is history, and to this day we are still experiencing the Alabama football dynasty. Only time will tell whether or not the Coach Saban era at Alabama goes down as the most dominant era for any program in all of college football. Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I plan on uploading every Saturday for now. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.